Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with the fastest trade view internet you've ever seen, we're- stock market update time. We're going to go over the Intel and their earnings reaction. I have it on the daily, so you can't see it yet, but we do know it's down unless it had bounced in the meantime. After that, we're going to go over the dollar, the Russell, the Nasdaq, the S&P, and just kind of see how things are looking. What's up, everybody? Anyway, let's rock and roll. Let's keep it to the point this time. No AI tangent. We'll see. We'll try. Let's do Intel first. Pow! Right to that zone, right to the expected move. Ultimately, that zone is holding for now. So we need to see. Again, these are the expected moves line that we draw on Sunday. If you're new here, just hit the subscribe button. Make sure the bells are on, but you're probably still not going to get notified on Sunday until you actually watch a few. But just know Sunday, 1 hour after futures open, I'm going to go live. We're going to draw these little white lines for you, and you can see where they're at. So whether you want to watch that or these zones, that's it. Just a combination of everything I watch as an option seller and trader. So earnings came out, and it was a beat. Why is it down? I don't know, guidance, whatever excuse they want to lead with. What's more important is that it is down, and what are you going to do? And right now, I do want to buy some, but I'm going to hang tight. I want to let the dust settle on this. I do want to buy at this zone. I actually still like Intel. In fact, I went over this a little bit earlier. I think Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA will all be up by the end of the year. So the question of how would you trade this really for me becomes a matter of time frame. As far as intraday and scalp, you can just see what tomorrow morning brings. I would try for a long play, even if you get a dead cat bounce, a little bit of profit taking for anybody that was short, anybody that buys the dip, pops it up. I'd have my stop in the green. So if it did come down, I made a few bucks. If it does break that, we'll probably have a nice little hiccup here at the $39. Everyone will probably talk about the $40 psychological level. But after that, I'd be more interested in it at $37. $37, and this goes in the growth account. So if you guys aren't on like the Patreon or you're in my group, the growth account is, again, something we started at the beginning of the year with 0. We're buying Palantir right now. And then I do want to buy Rivian and Intel, but that might move its way up the totem pole if it were to get to that 37 mark. Hambone, he says, "What's up, Don? What's up, man?" Tesla took a hard hit by China having super electric. Super electric. It's like electric, but super. And not fair to the U.S. And if the government doesn't step in, it's bad for Tesla. What are your thoughts? I don't know. That's a lot of just word salad right now. Automotive, I don't think is. I think we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but I don't think it's out of it yet. As far as anything that comes out of China, you kind of take it with a grain of salt, especially like their accounting, anything like that. The one thing you can trust is that the government will do things to make sure they're ahead. So. As far as the us versus them, it probably wouldn't be a fair battle. But needless to say, they can go super all they want. Tesla still sells Teslas in China, so that'll still affect the numbers over here as far as the stock goes. So I don't care. As far as the whole BYD comparison, all their numbers is actually including all of their hybrids, so it's not really a fair comparison anyway. Rivian cars are so ugly. Cody says you don't want Rivian. We'll see. We'll see. We're almost done buying Palantir. Then we'll have 2 sources of income, and then we're good. Let's see. Just don't trust Chinese any product. Unfortunately, Tesla is quality and American. Hopefully, they're getting their quality up now. Everyone loves to tell me how terrible the quality is, but remember when Tesla had like the bad panel gaps and all that, they were literally being built in a tent, didn't have a factory. To be expected. Ordered 2 foundations. Great insight. Thanks, brother. Well said. Appreciate you. All right, so as far as Intel goes, without going on an AI rant, something I brought up, and I'll continue to say, what I think is incredibly bullish for AMD and Intel is every company has gone from saying we're going to buy NVIDIA chips to we need NVIDIA's processing power or the equivalent of, whether it be from somebody else or not. And I do think Intel and AMD will catch some of that overflow. Tesla is quality tech, but they really need a coach builder. I agree. Yeah, I agree with all that. I mean, it's not for everybody, but yeah, I think Tesla could. Elon, and this was brought up in the earlier stream, as much as we're talking about Intel. Um, Elon is such a minimalist that it's coming out in all of his products. The guy lives in a box, eats peanut butter and jellies. Like the dude's the richest man in the world, living poorer than probably most of the people. Well, I don't want to say that, but like the majority, yeah, dude does literally nothing. Um, so I think he is a little bit, I don't want to say lost when it comes. A lot of his customers early on are the minimalist group, but to adopt the whole mainstream United States, again, we like big features, we like buttons, we just like to fidget with things. So I do think Tesla does lack in that, and this is where a lot of people probably say that doesn't actually matter. But when you think about it, if Tesla license out full self driving, there goes their edge. Now that's cool for Tesla, but why would I buy a Tesla car when I can go buy, even if you're a fan of GM, you can go buy their GM truck and get Tesla's full self driving, and you get they already have their superchargers. So now you get the kind of like the best of both worlds if you don't specifically like Tesla. So 175 bounce. Well, let's finish up with Intel. Intel, I think a 37 bounce. I think there's a good chance this zone actually does hold. 37 is like my rain or shine event. I'm going to buy more. Am I looking at the 162 bounce on Tesla? No, I'm actually looking at this bounce right here. I already own a couple hundred more shares. If you guys caught my earnings play, I sold the 197.50 puts naked. Now I sold two of those, one for $300, one for 355. So I got $655 just to buy the stock at 155, which is sweet because it's down. But that being said, I grabbed a couple hundred more here, and once the bleeding does stop, when we get to a base out, I will sell a couple more out of the money puts. If that assigns, fine, so be it. I'll take it, but I do want to try to avoid assignment. I do have enough for now, and I don't like just buying all the way down. I have a problem with just buying stocks that are trending down. That being said, there's a lot of things. Again, I'm still at the front that the stock market itself might sell off. We just got to the all-time highs, and I talked about that. We tickle the all-time highs. You get the headlines, and then it does sell off. And whether that happens or not, if it does, anything I do buy now has that in mind. So I'll be riding any storm out. I do think it's the first, maybe the end of Q1, but I think it's still Q1. I do think we end the year green. So I want to be cautious of just kind of where I'm at allocation wise, because if I'm going to rock this thing down, I don't want to have so much out there that I'm now emotional and just about to make a stupid decision on selling. It's almost deja vu 2020, January. Tesla went down, then hit a skyrocket and kept going. Yeah. Oh, I know. Turned on a dime. And then it did it again. No, yeah, 2023. Either way, we'll see. As far as the stock goes, I mean, this is still of no surprise. It's a decent channel down. Didn't I have that? Yeah, so I drew these blue candles out. You saw them on stream. That's something we're going over in the mentorship tonight, how to kind of measure out these moves. But what I did was I literally just took these candles right here, moved them over. This has to do with, as far as my style goes, I don't know if I would say start planning your strategy around that, but I do trade the same stuff over and over again. And the same sellers that were here before are probably the same sellers that are here now. People tend to stick in the same crowds, which is also why I think execution's a lot better when you just trade fewer things. Again, I know quite a few people, they literally only trade the ES contract, which is the S&P futures contract. And there is nothing bad. Like, they'll probably destroy a lot of people thinking they're going to play the in and out game with most tickers. Matt says so dumb. Any thoughts on PayPal and their innovation day to day? What are they innovating? I have a hard time calling any of these companies innovating. Kathy Wood kind of ruined that when she calls Roku innovating. Okay, so that's all that reminds me of. Let's kick it off as far as see what the markets are doing. Did they announce they're innovating anything? Are they innovating? Did they innovate the thing? All right, cat trying to get in. As far as the dollar goes, it sucks that it's basing out because I'm short the dollar, and I don't like this ping pong action because just like this, if I don't see it, like when it hits that zone from the bottom, I expect a rejection. That's what I'm looking for. Looking for this as a stock, looking for any kind of sellers, and when it does and doesn't get anywhere, and there's zero follow through, there is an aspect of time, and at that point, you do have to start looking for the continuation, just like we got here. So being short the dollar, not the coolest right here. If you're bullish the markets, that is a pretty cool sign because just the more bullish the dollar, or yeah, no, that's not a good sign. Never mind. If you're bearish the dollar, bullish the market, yeah, not a good sign. It's a lot easier for the markets to go up when the dollar is selling off. Sorry, I probably just really confused everybody. As far as the Japanese yen, yeah, kind of flirting around right here. I need that to break down. All right. Let's check the coin of the bit. Breaking down bear flag, and like I said, would be genuinely surprised if that zone held. I do think it's coming on down to here, so that's where I'm looking to buy around that 35 mark. If you were to buy the Cybertruck, which would you buy, dual or tri-motor? Tri-motor. I got one of each, one to rent out and run ad space on wrapped, and tri-motor for personal business use. SEC 179. So it does fall under the. I guess it weighs 1 billion pounds. Yeah, surely it falls over the. Yeah, what you said, the 179 tax credit. Interesting. So okay, that's I didn't even think about that. So you're gonna rent one out. Not bad. Tri motor for sure. Uh, I pre-ordered one, but I am nowhere near on the list. Mine's not gonna be done for a while. So I'm hoping there's an allocation or cancels that kind of. This happens a lot with newer cars. You get the allocations and get the cancels, they go to the dealership. So I was kind of hoping to just kind of sneak in and did that. Uh, they weigh 6,000 pounds. Man, yeah, Krim, I'm still buying Bitcoin and Ethereum weekly. That doesn't change. When it gets to that lower zone, though, that's when I take the savings count and bump it in. Still rejecting out of there. Honestly, I can understand a bear calling that a lower high, but I think this looks more like a bull flag. If anything, it'd be hard to be short this right now. If I was long futures right now, my stop would be just right below this low. And again, if you're looking at the Russell, here's why I think there's a lot of people that just might be bearish. As a trader with zero emotion, that is just horizontal. And all the excuses we're hearing now as to why it's bullish all-time highs, we've heard all of that back here, and it just continues. And the Russell loves to do this. Go sideways forever, and then make the next stair step up or down, sideways again. As far as the expected move, tried to get outside of it a couple times, reined it back in every time. So it looks like the fireworks are probably done for this one. So we might just chop around the rest of the week. Unless we just get in send it mode, then I'd watch out for the $200 mark on the Russell. NASDAQ, let's just be honest, this is not NASDAQ. This is just NVDA S100. Clearly, anything NVIDIA does, the rest of the Qs do. NVIDIA did sell off today. I don't know. I think the NASDAQ is a little overbought, but outside of anything intraday and just kind of attacking it on a smaller time frame, I grabbed one put today for NVIDIA, and I made literally $40 because it had dropped down. I put my stop in the green. It had just broke down, jumped up, tagged it, and then sold off again. I just didn't want to chase it. Anything outside of like catching the knife like that, just I don't think it's worth it. It's probably when we push up like this, I think we're just pulling over just to catch more of a dip buy. I'd be careful buying at these highs, but when it's all-time highs every day, the longer you wait to make a move, the more likely you are to buy that peak, you know? Tesla closed 10% down. Market said, eh. Yeah, NVIDIA runs everything. BRICS is going to be harsh on the dollar. Look at mid-year this year. It better be. because I am unbelievably short the dollar. And I'm going to be short the dollar for some time. So light that thing on fire. Kick the printers out. I hope they buy an extra ink cartridge and run them both dry. As far as the Nasdaq goes, jumped up, hit the expected move, kind of pulled back. Again, today's Thursday. Tomorrow, fireworks are probably already done. It's not likely we run that thing 2 standard deviations. It would be the sky is falling if we just hit all the way down here. Nothing the Nasdaq couldn't do. I would just be a little bit surprised. Nvidia would probably have to catch on fire. Let's see. S&P hanging out sideways again. Can we make a zone off of this? I don't know. Let's keep an eye just right here. And again, guys, I'm gonna make these blue just because what can you do off of literally just this price action? A little bit of chop, a little bit of nothing. Got a little excited, came back down. Clearly, this is kind of like our area. So as long as that holds up, we're all right. I think if it pulled back down into that zone, it would just be a nice dip buy, and I'm sure there's some trend line play right there as well. You might find a little bit extra buyers. And like I said, guys, I was in the camp. They were going to get to all-time highs and then send it. Maybe not necessarily rug pull type. I thought it'd be more of a grind down. Whatever the excuse would be, I don't actually care. That's just for conversation and thumbnails, right? If how many days do you want to just hit all-time highs before you're like, all right, maybe that's not coming? So as long as we're at all-time highs every day and the pullbacks only consist of a few tiny red candles, the sell-off isn't really here. It is a buy the dip scenario until then. And for everybody catching that knife every time, hopefully you catch it just right. But how many little hits can you take before you just get annoyed? So I would think of that before you just go all, because I'm in an SPXS position, right? And it's down. And the reason why, and I made a video about that, the reason why I chose SPXS as opposed to SPY puts was because I didn't want to give myself an expiration date. I wanted to give it time. Yes, it is down, but overall, delta wise, my portfolio is still pretty bullish with everything that I own. But really hoping that was going to take off. And again, even if we did get the sell off, I'm nowhere near in the camp a lot of the other bears are, because I don't think it's going to be long lived. I would buy all the dips, I think. Back to stock talk. All right. Is 182 a good buy, or will it go down more? Your thoughts? Short or buy? I would not want to be short Tesla at 180. If I was already short, I would just be trailing it just for the trend down. Don't tell anybody, because they'll lose their minds. But no, 180 for me is a decent dip buy. And what I mean by, if you're going to hold it for any amount of time, I think 180 is closer to the bottom than it would be any top, if that makes sense. We will end the week where we started for the markets. Let's check that out on the weekly. Ooh, we'd say a little doji candle. Or we pull back just like we did here, and then next week's a little bit red. Hopefully next week is red, so we can at least get some kind of dip buy. I have to admit, I've kind of just done a lot of option selling again, because everything I have is just up, not in like the best way. I have SPXS that's down, but I've just been selling options against it because there hasn't been too many dip buys. I've just been confident to say I'm going in. Let me grab it. This is it. Tesla is my life. You don't say. Your YouTube name is Cyber Beast. I would have never guessed that. Great dip buy. Yes. Yes for one. Two. Agreed. Concurred. Makes sense. I didn't see any buyers for Tesla today. Probably Friday for puts cashing out. Think we get some short covering. I will say, here's what I would be concerned about. If you're taking this as a trade and you're buying this 180 zone and it pops up and makes it to that yellow zone at 195, I would consider putting your stop in the green. Everything about that, if I'm bearish and I'm just short and I see this and then it pops up to there, I haven't even checked my phone. I have 0 alerts going off right now, other than I might want to add on. So I know the Tesla bulls, that's just blasphemy. But for anybody just trading the charts and just playing that trend, all that is a dead cat bounce. That's just an oversold bounce. A great spot to reload up short. So if you did catch that knife and front run that risk and it pops up, you know, as a trader, why watch a green trade go red? But, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to get to my mentorship group right now. We have a huge night. Thursdays is Zoom night, so it's strategy talk. And that's why we come on here and just do the futures. But I have to get to them. If you are curious about that, just, you know, as always, check the links down below. Or I was going to make a joke, but now it's awkward to say, you send me 500 in Bitcoin right now, and you're in for life. But that's a much better deal than the fake me. The fake me, I think, is a full Bitcoin. But he does make 60 to 90K a day. Anyway, see you guys. Have a good one.